as fashion pretends to be all about the new and pushing forward, in many ways, it's actually an industry that is extremely slow and resistant to change. Throughout my model camp, I've heard so many heartbreaking stories. And one of the great things, though, about the format of our camp is that it not only enlightens me, but it enlightens so many other models and really creates a true sisterhood of understanding. And today, I think, if I'm right, we have about 100 or more participants here. And as my co-host today, I said, the lovely Jourdana, she is an amazing model who I've known for a few years now, and she has her own stories to tell.
I've been modeling since 2008. It was really hard to get signed. There was this movement of only one model per agency, one model of color per agency, and one model of color on the runway type thing. So I would go to agency after agency, and then they're like, sorry, we're pushing so-and-so. Sorry, we're pushing so-and-so. Sorry, you look too much like so-and-so. And so that was really difficult because I was like, can we only push one? No doors were opening for me. It broke my heart because I honestly gave it my entire life from when I was 11 years old. I knew that I was prepared, but the industry wasn't ready. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take my money and go get an education because you guys aren't ready for me, obviously. And I knew that I was a good model. I worked really hard to work on my walk and I studied like every girl. Coco, I used to obsess and watch her all the time. I used to know everyone's walk. I started an Instagram, someone told me to. I was still in school. I was planning on being a teacher. But one day, an amazing photographer, his name is Shemayim, he contacted me on social media and he was like, hey, can I take pictures of you? He's like, you should be modeling. And I was like, okay. He took some pictures of me and we put it on Instagram and they went viral. Like all these like curly hair places were like reposting and I was like, whoa, okay, this is different. Some people that were following him, like agencies in South Africa, reached out to him and me and asked if I could come down. But I had to choose either between like being a teacher or going there. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this anymore because last time I tried, this didn't really work out. Do I really want to try this again? And has the industry actually changed? The doors and opportunities really just opened up in a way that I didn't see in 2006 and 2007, 2008. In terms of where we are now from the past up until now, yes, there are so many amazing, beautiful models of color now compared to what it was before, which is an absolutely beautiful thing. Now we're at a place where it's like, okay, we're here and there's a lot of beautiful girls with curly hair and different types of texture, long hair, braids, this and that. We're being celebrated in new ways, but everyone on set is still not diverse. Behind the scenes, nothing has changed. The people from 2006, 2007, 2008, and beyond that are still the people who are creating the images now. Have we actually made changes or have we only made the changes which creates a facade? We're seeing, as models of color, what's happening in fashion. It's important for us to speak up because we're the majority when it comes to people of color in fashion.
Can I just say, I see so many heads nodding their head, and I think that actually just made a lot of sense. When I do see those ads going out where you're like, who allowed this? Yeah, you're right. We need to see on the creative side something change in order for someone to be like, hold up, that doesn't actually make sense. Why are we portraying this individual like that? This is irresponsible. So yes, I think, and that's an easy fix. That is an easy fix to make sure that just the right creatives are creating good content. But I want to go back sort of what you kind of said earlier about tokenism, which is like a model or a Black model in this situation where she is, picked for an agency, just one girl at a time. I remember when I started modeling, it was just a fleet of white girls, my size, my look, and then one Black girl would be on the runway. And no joke, it was, congratulations, you did such a good job having that one Black girl. To say, okay, I'm gonna do this job. I know that I'm gonna be the one Black girl on this show. Do you take the job because you think, yes, this is going to benefit, hopefully in the future, this will change in the future? Or do you say, no, I'm not going to do this job because this isn't fair. There should be more Black girls. Like, how does one decide a job like that?
I've definitely had a lot of internal battles with that. I think all models of color have that. It's important for models who are self-aware and conscious to be at these jobs, because then we allow for change to happen. We're going to be able to say something. But if I'm not there because I said, no, I don't want to do this job, or no, I'm not going to do this, then I don't have the opportunity to try to make change from my presence.
I have so many questions now from people to you. So I have a question from Melvin. I'm supposed to ask it. How much of the racism that exists in agencies are dictated by brands?
So is it the brand's issue?
Is brands like saying to an agency, I don't really need girls of color. Therefore, agencies are saying, well, we don't really need to have, we don't need to represent so many of them because brands are not asking for them, I think is the question.
I remember when I was trying to get signed back in 2007, and I went to an agency. He's like, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but like, I can't sign you because just like the brands aren't trying to, you know, like, so we can only push one because we can't seem to sell any other model of color. If brands were saying, hey, we want this, I'm sure agencies will have to really get in shape to make sure they can feed their need of what that client wants.
I think really it's this weird circular, like chicken or the egg circular thing. You know, the agencies will say, hey, brands aren't looking for girls of color. And then brands go, we don't have any options. The agencies aren't giving us anything. So that happens in a few different scenarios. I remember even body types, age, skin, belief system, all of it. It's like, well, you don't have it, therefore we can't get it. And hey, you don't want it because you never ask for it. So it's kind of like what I noticed when social media appeared, that, hey, people started demanding to see different things in this industry, whether it was skin color, whether it's age, body curve, all of it. You started to hear the voice of the people saying, I don't see me in fashion. And therefore, why would I buy anything if I don't see myself? So we do have a few ladies and gentlemen that would like to share their stories now. So I'm going to just add in Adelise wants to share her story.
Hi everyone. Thanks so much for this opportunity, James, Coco, Jourdana. I really love this space as an Afro-Latina model. I have experienced racist and colorist since the beginning of my career. My first experience was, I remember going to an agency here in Puerto Rico, and the agent say, I love your look, but you will need to work 2 and 3 times more of a white girl to get a job. Travel to New York to go to go-sees, like 3 or 4 agencies say, oh, we just look a girl that looks like you. So we are sorry, keep trying. They tell me, don't take too much sun because we love your light skin. You must straighten your hair because I need to look more as European white features. I remember also going backstage and doing my own makeup and hair because no one else know how to do it. And it feels really painful because you want to be treated the same as the other girls.
I do understand what you mean. I've had a lot of times saying, clients say, I don't look Black enough. I've heard horrible stories of girls getting their hair washed and then putting relaxer in the hair wash because they wanted the girl's hair to be more straight, not telling them. This needs to be conversations that are happening, you know, like if you have a team, a creative team, having a discussion of what you want for this girl that you're shooting and to do her justice. And
all right, so we're going to go now to Dara, who would like to share also her story.
Basically what just happened was someone with a brand from Chicago, starting her new boutique line, reached out to me, and she was just like, I want you to be a part of, you know, my photo shoot I'm having this weekend. just to show what's going on in the world. So I responded back and I was just like, hi, would love to get more information about like what actually the photo shoot is going to be. And if it's going to, really try and contribute besides just a photo shoot for her brand. And then she ignored that. And she said, you know what, no thanks. So many brands right now are reaching out to Black models to work with them, to show diversity.
Look historically on these brands. Have they been working successfully with Black or, people of color or body shapes? Have they always been about diversity? Or is this something that literally last week was a discussion they had internally and was like, you know what, we need a brand, just do a whole campaign of Black girls. That was kind of also the MeToo movement. Like when people started to say in this industry, we are here for women. I called out sexual predators 10 years ago about men in our industry, and I was told I would lose my career. Now I know this isn't the same thing, but what I recognize is the same, is that when 2018 came through, people went, hey, we are predators. Yeah, because social media told us we should get rid of them. We will now. And now I'm noticing some predators are starting to work again.
So many brands in my DM wanting me to shoot stuff, and they want me to post me wearing their different things, and I'm like, are you gonna pay me? And then I look at their feed and there hasn't been anyone of color on their page, and I'm like, wow, like, like this company is just using me. I do think we have the opportunity now to be a lot more vocal about those things. We all have to speak, and we all have to speak together as one, so that we can actually make change instead of girls getting thrown to the wayside because she said something and spoke her mind.
Good, yeah. So next is Stephanie, who wants to share her story now.
Hi. Well, I don't know where to start. I've had so many experiences. I think one that really stood out to me was when I was hired on for a brand to be their, I guess, in-house model. They uploaded like 7 pictures of me and they said that it was too much, like too much Black. How do you maintain not coming off as diva-ish when someone is being rude to you?
I think it is frustrating that if a woman of color does make any noise, anything, it is an automatic, oh, look at her, she's such a diva. Jourdana, who is usually on the quieter side though, have you ever experienced something of that note?
I've always made sure that I took emotions out of the things that I was saying. So I kept it with no attitude, no nothing. And I tried to do it pretty early, because if you hold on to it too long, I noticed by the end of the shoot day, you're upset. And then
Yes. That's my problem. I am so passive aggressive at the morning, and then by the end, I am about to eat someone. I'm so mad. So it is so true. From the moment you start feeling something, you say it without any emotion, just controlled. It is very true.
There's a difficulty with models of color being able to really express how they feel. Most of us, all of us, we talk a lot of stuff behind the scenes about the hair, makeup, everything, and we largely keep it in. We know that the more we speak vocal, the less the client is going to want to work with us or going to work with someone who's easier. There's a level of feeling disposable, especially as a model of color, because you tried so hard to get to this point and you don't want to lose it. So you're not that vocal. I will be honest, a lot of models of color do not support each other in the industry, and that is a big problem. And there's a sense of competitiveness amongst one another that makes it really hard for us to be able to share our stories together, have a sense of camaraderie amongst each other to be able to make things really happen and change.
Let's bring in Nana now. She wants to share her story.
Hello, my name is Nana. I had a chance to have my first show in Milan. And the funny thing is, before I went to Milan, I was so excited about this whole thing. I had it all planned out in my mind, how it was going to be, how I'm going to be treated and all that. But I got there and I was hit with this racism thing in the industry. I got there and they told me they don't have makeup artists for me. They don't have makeup products for me as well. Within 2 minutes, 5 minutes, they were done. But I realized that with these other white models, they kept like they can spend like 30 minutes on one model. And I was like, hey, what happened? What happened to my face? 6 months after, I still went back. I got an opportunity to move from Ghana to Milan, and it was still the same thing, makeup artist problem. And then so there were some of the designers that really said it out loud that no, I don't want any black model to walk in my dress. My dresses are for white models. And she said it out loud for everyone. And honestly, I was sad. It dampened my spirit. I called my mom on WhatsApp. I was crying to her that, and she motivated me saying, no, don't mind them. The fact that one person is not wanting to work with you shouldn't dampen your spirit. You should go all out and kill it. Because for you, Coco, for instance, I love you a lot. I used to learn your moves and all that, how you used to do all those crazy moves and stuff. That has been my story. There's more to it, but I like to keep it short.
First of all, Nana, I think you should write a book because your positivity is so good. I love, even though you've gone through so much, and I know you know so many people have, you're still like, we're going to show positivity to every, crossroad. And even your mom telling you, like, go out there and be your absolute gorgeous self and forget that person and you're going to work with other people. It's amazing. I do want to say, in Europe, though, it's still, America's backwards, and then Europe can also be very backwards because it is an older generation that most of those houses are run by. And those older generations are completely, some good, but completely oblivious to what's going on. The fact that you were even working there and you continuously did it, even though it was hard and you were showing up and showing up, there is definitely women in Africa, in America, all over the world would looked at you and gone, amazing, finally, this is beautiful. So high five for you. That's all I have to say. And I hope one day you'll be here and we'll be seeing your fabulous self in America running down the runway? No, walking down that runway. Okay, so we're gonna go next to, who is it? Blair.
Hello. Hi, everyone. This has been awesome. I'm just really happy to be participating in this and hearing everyone's stories. And it's kind of crazy because it's, we're all having these similar experiences. I know for me personally, I've had a lot of issues after I cut my hair and dyed it blonde. And it was like, oh no, like you're not going to get any work like that. You don't fit the bill or the look of what they're going for. There's people who look like me. There's people who look like all of us. So I'm hoping out of all of this that there's just a less stereotypical look at how people should fit into certain bills.
Well, Jourdana, she at one point had bleached hair. And if I remember correctly, I don't know if I can tell this story, but I do remember you going on a show and you had bleached hair. It was still natural, though, using the natural texture. And then the next year they asked you, you had not bleached hair. Am I right, Jourdana? And the next year they asked you, can you go back to your bleached hair for you to get this big show? And I remember saying to me, I don't know if I'm going to do it. And I was kind of like, well, I'm a girl, like, who cares about hair? I'll chop it. I bleach it. I've done red. I've done black. It's gone buzz cut, all of it. But you were like, no, I want it to be the color it is. I want it natural. I want to show, I don't know. I'm telling your story. Am I right or wrong about this?
Oh wait, we did have that conversation.
We did have that conversation. And in the end, you went to the casting with your natural hair. And in the end, you got that show.
Yeah, I think because I cut I'm kind of with you, Blair. Like I got my hair cut just like yours and blonde. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't my doing. Like the show that I was doing wanted me to do it, and I was like, whatever, as long as I'm closing this show, I don't care. So I did it. But after I was like, is my value in that hair that I had, or does it not matter? And I think at that moment, this other big show I had, they were like, oh, we want you to go back to your blonde hair and not the curly hair that I have now. I was like, you know what? I know I'm valuable. Like, I know that it doesn't matter if my hair is blonde, if it's long, if it's short, if I have a big fro, a little fro. I have to come into understanding my value. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I had to say, like, no, I know that if you really truly see my value, you'll know that whether I had blonde hair or not, like, I'm going to book this show. And I had to actually understand that myself and come to learning my own value so that I could set that to other people.
Can I just give it away what you did, because you're such a, you think it's not that big of a deal what happened, but can I say what show it was?
Sure.
You did Victoria's Secret and was one of the first to have natural hair, guys. So that's a big deal, I think. I remember telling her, I'm like, that's a huge deal. She's like, I know. I'm like, no, it's still in my mind. Like, still to this day, anytime I see her, I'm like, history. And for them to even say, okay, fine. But they really did push her for wanting that cool, edgy look. And she's like, no, I think this is more of who I am. And this is also a statement for the rest of the world, for those women. I mean, it's mind-boggling what you just did. And I hope she knows how big of a deal that was, because that's a big empire that you just kind of told them, this is how it's going to be done. And you did it. So anyways, that's what I had to be a cheerleader there. Rachel, oh yes, who works on the corporate side in luxury and fashion, would like to talk about diversity in fashion.
Yes, I work in the luxury fashion sector, if you will, and I work on the corporate side. So there aren't very many of us, I must admit, when it comes to luxury fashion and being, in the corridors of power. So if you look at a lot of the senior leadership teams, for example, you will not see Black people, having a seat at the table. And I think it's really interesting to note that, usually when these instances are happening with models, it's probably a company-wide thing. And it's probably a cultural thing at those companies. We need to be there at the table so we can make these decisions and we can say, actually, that's a bit tone deaf, or actually that's going to be very upsetting to a lot of people, more so now than ever.
Like we said earlier, Jourdana saying the teams having, a variety of backgrounds. Thank you, Rachel. All right, next one is, sorry, I have to go back to my phone always to find out, Jasmine, who wants to share her story.
I just want to say thank you to Jourdana, Coco, and James for putting this together, and for everyone who came before and told your story. It's really inspirational to know that we are going through so many similar things as well. When I turned 16, I moved to California, and the first thing they said to me was I was too ethnic and they already had enough people who looked like me on their board. And right when I hit the double doors, I busted out crying and I couldn't control it. Last year when I did it, one of the backstage people who was over like the coordination of the show, she pushed me out onto the runway. I spoke up about it, and I guess because I'm tall, people automatically feel threatened, but I am the nicest giant in the world. I am the friendliest giant you will ever meet in your life. But when I spoke up about it, and no other model that I was talking to behind stage before I spoke up wanted to come with me and speak to the person.
I'm sorry that, no, you know what? It's good that it's an emotional experience too. I know that we've all experienced things, and I've seen girls where they're like, we will stand together. And you're like, great, I'll be the voice and let's all, where are you? Where did you go? You're not with me anymore. It's scary because they're scared to be blacklisted. And a lot of us start very young, and you work in an industry where it's powerful adults, and then all of a sudden they threaten, they tell, they say, if you don't listen, we will get rid of you. And then there's someone like you who's like, you know what, that doesn't scare me, I'm going. And then you look back and you're like, where did you all go? And
it's like
but you should be so proud of yourself, because that in the future, the rest of your life, those people will feel more comfortable over time, and on their own time, that they feel that they can stand up for themselves and for other people. But you're going to be 10 steps ahead for so many other people.
I've always been that person to speak up for other people, even in middle school. I do think that in order to bring upon a change, that we should start from the inside out. It's crazy when we do get into those positions as Black women and we still don't try to help out in any kind of way. We just get there and we conform to what's already there.
Jourdana, I see you getting closer and closer to the camera. I feel like you have something to say. She's like, what is that?
you spoke up. I think sometimes we think that when we speak up, and then like we're left alone, all those little moments, they've really helped build us to making changes, and they all in some way have made a change. And I think that's what's so great about what you did, and what that all leads all the other girls to feel more motivated to keep speaking and to keep trying, because they saw you did it, but they were too scared. But then maybe the next moment something happens, and then maybe she'll feel more okay with speaking out, you know. So it'll always make a difference in some capacity.
Yes, you saw those girls do nothing for you or to speak up, but maybe they were so embarrassed by their actions, or was ready to next time do something. You don't know. Maybe next time they did something for someone else. Who knows? Maybe they didn't, or maybe in the future. But again, personally, from my experiences of people not speaking up when I needed some help with the issues of sexual harassment to discrimination, and people being models around my era were like, we will not talk, we will not talk. And now I see them talking. Do I get mad at them for being like, hey, where were you 10, 12 years ago? Or do I not just say, good job, congratulations? Like, I know how hard it is. I'm happy that you're now committed and ready to use that voice, even though it was a very long time ago when we needed you. But hey, they're helping someone now. So maybe look again, think of the positive that could occur from it, and know that you did a solid, and people will be proud of what you have done. And you're proud of what you do. I am so proud of the things I've done. Have I made mistakes? Oh yes, I've made mistakes. But I am also so proud of those moments where it was terrifying, it was upsetting, and it really affected change, I hope, for those scenarios that we were going through at the time.
I completely agree with you. I think that is something that's constantly happening in our industry. To some degree, we can try to change other people's views, but and sometimes that may not actually be able to happen. But I can change how I feel about myself, and I know that I'm beautiful, and I'm gonna walk in the room, and I'm gonna make sure I stick with the clients that I know who find me beautiful. And I've had clients who don't make me feel beautiful, and I stopped working for them, even though they give me money. I was like, no, because I know that me staying confident in myself and working with people who know my beauty is more valuable to myself, and will help me get more money and more amazing clients if I keep that positivity for myself.
Really appreciate, Jourdana, you being here. I know, I mean, this woman has done a lot, even though she is so humble and quiet, but also effective in her words. Thank you for the ladies for sharing your stories. I know sometimes it's very emotional, and we appreciate that, even seeing your emotions. And they are very powerful stories, each one of them. We hear you, we love you, we respect you, and we respect that this is a struggle. And we definitely know that we have to stand up, not just Black women have to stand up together in this industry, but all of us together. And I know there's a lot of people that are just sitting in listening to this. And I hope that this has given you, opened your eyes maybe to something that you didn't really realize was happening in this industry. And if you did know it was happening, then maybe this has made you want to, change the industry, because it's not someone else's problem. It's each one of us to change our own little corner in this industry. Stay safe during this crazy time of COVID. Love you guys. Love you, Jourdana.
Bye. Thank you so much.